From $2,000 to $3,600 for 2021 taxes. You're going to get $3,600 per child under 6 and $3,000 per child 6.
For 2022 should be around 6%. Johnson says that this would be a much needed help for benefit recipients, but many are running out of time.
The COLA won't be paid until January. So there is months of having to meet these high costs. And right now, their benefits were only raised by about on average, about $20 a month for this year. So when they're facing very large increases for prescription drugs.
Here is the most important news. The Social Security Administration has released several important details for everybody to receive Social Security. Officials have announced that many seniors and retirees may qualify for an extra $150 a month. Now, after battling soaring inflation for the past year, retired workers got some good news. In October, benefits will get an 8.7% cost of living adjustment in 2023. It makes the fourth largest increase in history. Meanwhile, the standard Medicare Part B premium will decrease 3% next year. Just the second time this has happened. So, Mary Johnson, the Social Security Medicare policy analyst for the Senior Citizens League, has told reporters the large COLA coupled with lower Part B premiums will help beneficiaries to some extent. But the average retired worker will receive an extra $150 per month in Social Security income next year. Now, the Social Security COLAs are designed to protect the buying power of benefits from inflation. Unfortunately, inflation remained near a 4-decade high for the better part of the past year, and the 5.9% COLA applied to Social Security benefits for this year has failed to fully offset the impact of rising prices. It just means retired workers essentially took a pay cut this year, as they had to spend a greater portion of their checks to cover the increased cost of groceries, electric, and other goods. Fortunately, the Social Security recipients will get an 8.7% raise next year. This will boost that average benefit for retired workers to $2,000 a month. According to the SSA, the average retired worker will receive an average of $150 in benefits. Now, this year, the standard Medicare Part B premium has got some important information. It increased to $170 a month, making one of the largest price hikes in the program history. The figure easily topped the 5.9% COLA applied to benefits, meaning retired workers have spent a greater portion of their monthly income on medical care this year. Fortunately, the standard Medicare Part B premium will fall again to $164 a month, meaning most beneficiaries will save about $5 to $10 on average. Over the course of the year, that's a lot of money. Now, that may not seem like too much, but when combined with the average additional increase in income of Social Security, the retired worker can actually get a whole bunch of more money. That's around $2,000 more next year. And also, the Biden administration has decided that it will ask the Supreme Court to revive its student debt relief program, as it fights to reverse lower court rulings that have upended its plans to forgive up to $20,000 debt to tens of millions of people. The Justice Department has said in a court filing this week that it planned to ask the Supreme Court to reverse an injunction that was issued by the 8th Court of Circuit Appeals. So the justices have twice rejected primarily requests in other lawsuits to block Biden's debt relief program, and the lawsuit now is heading to the Supreme Court. It was just brought up by 6 Republican officials who were trying to stop Biden from doing this. They slam him as unfair and unconstitutional, but the White House is still weighing a decision about whether to postpone or restart monthly payments and interest for most of the student loans in January as planned. Student activists and advocacy groups have urged the Biden administration to make clear that it won't restart the payments while its debt relief program remains in limbo. Administration officials are arguing that they need to cancel student debt for millions of borrowers to help so many people deal with this insane crisis. And now the Undersecretary of Education said in a court filing that examining all available options are on the table, while student debt remains blocked in court.
It says some $563 million in relief checks will be mailed by December 17th. The checks total anywhere from $600 to $1,100. Another 3,000 payments will be direct deposits. This money comes from federal and state pandemic aid to help struggling California residents who earned less than $75,000 in 2020.
We have a ton of information about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI, and SSDI. There's a ton of information about this, and here's what you need to know right now. In March, the lawmakers approved the American Rescue Plan. This helped so many people across the United States. So a massive spending bill, it was designed to provide retail to and relief during the crisis. Now, that bill allowed for a third round of checks worth up to $1,400 apiece, and it also boosted the child tax credit in a huge way. Prior to this, a maximum value of $2,000 per child, and only a portion of that was refundable. The child tax credit was already partially refundable before 2021, but last year, it just became more refundable. Plus, half of the child tax credit was paid in monthly installments. So lawmakers are now hoping to keep this bill, this part of the stimulus checks, in place for next year as well, so they can continue the monthly payments into 2024. And given the way that inflation has surged this year, it would be a great thing for cash-strapped families who are facing difficulties with maxed out credit cards. But unfortunately, the enhanced version of this credit didn't go as approved. However, lawmakers are still pushing for the bill to be passed. The enhanced child tax credit has helped many families shore up their finances. It also led to a notable decrease in food insufficiency and child poverty rates. Once the boosted credit went away, the bulk of that progress was reversed. That's something that lawmakers have noticed. It's why so many people are still fighting back to get some sort of boosted version of the child tax credit. It may not look exactly the same as the boost as it was in 2021, but it's still something better than nothing. And according to the latest report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a key measure of inflation, wholesale prices rose by 10% in October from a year before. While still historically high, it was the smallest increase since July. It is the second inflation report this month to show signs of cooling and the rising prices that have plagued the economy. Economists expect that the producer price index will measure price paid for goods and services properly before they reach consumers, and that's to show an annual increase of 8.3%, down from September's revised 8.4%. And on a monthly basis, producers rose 0.2% below expectations, and even with the revised 0.2% increase in September, it's not helping too many people. Last week, the CPI index showed inflation slowed to 7.7% to 8.2% year over year. Now, the Fed vice chair says that this was reassuring that sight, and it signals that the rate hikes appear to be taking a hold. And so, now with the crisis coming still around the United States, millions of people are dealing with this consequence. For several months, stimulus checks were mailed and deposited, and the crisis is inflation and nothing else besides inflation. The U.S. federal government approved these payments, and they served as a lifeline for millions of people to get. So, the good news is that many states are joining in on this and helping so many people with these crisis inflation relief checks is what we want to call it. The governor of New York, for instance, said that this relief package is making good on our commitment to help hardworking New Yorkers through the nationwide affordability crisis. And the program put money back in the pockets of nearly 2 million New York families that are struggling to make ends meet. So it's good to hear that some people are dealing with the crisis properly. Over 1 million low-income New Yorkers have received tax relief, and even some people are getting $270 inflation relief checks. If you're eligible, you don't have to do anything. Checks will be mailed to you, and you'll probably get it in the mailbox or even in your bank. Not only that, folks, but listen to this. According to CNN, white-collar workers will be hit harder than blue-collar workers if the United States enters a recession. Economists say that the crisis shifted things around and